Do you know someone like this? Someone who makes plans to go out only to cancel at the very last minute? Someone who always says they are a little tired today, a bit busy, or that maybe you should meet another time? Maybe you have thought they were avoiding you. But sometimes the truth is different. Maybe they are not avoiding you at all. Maybe they are simply trying to protect something else. If you are the kind of person who feels more excited about spending a Friday night at home in pajamas than going out to socialize, then welcome. You may be about to see yourself in this video. Because there is something society often calls boring, but psychology sees in a completely different way. The truth is this: not everyone recharges in the same way. Extroverted people often feel energized when they are around others. They enjoy conversations, laughter, and the lively atmosphere of a crowded room. For them, the outside world is a source of energy. But for introverts, or for people who simply prefer being alone, things work differently. They recharge in quietness. Every social interaction, no matter how enjoyable, still requires their nervous system to work hard. They have to listen to several people at once. They read facial expressions, tones of voice, and the atmosphere around them. Their brains constantly process signals that others may not even notice. After a while, that becomes tiring, not because they hate people, not because they dislike you. Their brains simply need silence. The easiest way to understand this is to imagine your brain as a phone. Every conversation is like an app running in the background. Every social interaction opens another app. After a few hours, the phone begins to heat up, and the battery drains faster than usual. Everything starts to slow down. At that point, you need to close some apps. You need to plug it in. You need to leave it alone for a while. For many people, home is the only place where they can do that. Not because they are lazy, but because it is the only way they can show up better the next day. In psychology, every person has a different level of stimulation that makes them feel comfortable. Some people need more activity, more noise, and more interaction. Without those things, they feel bored and empty. But others feel best when their environment is quieter, when there are not too many things happening at once, and when they can decide for themselves what they want or do not want to do that day. That does not mean they lack energy. It does not mean they are wasting their youth. It simply means they are built differently. So, liking staying at home is not laziness. It is not a fear of society. It is simply how their nervous system works. But the story does not end there. There is another reason many people prefer staying home, and it is something few people openly talk about: the feeling of control over their environment. Out in the world, things can often feel unpredictable. Strangers talk loudly in cafes. Plans change at the last minute. Small talk forces you to smile even when you do not really feel like it. People ask questions you may not know how to answer. Uncomfortable moments happen, and sometimes you cannot easily escape them. There are many things you cannot control. But at home, everything changes. You can control the lighting, you can control the sound. You decide whether you want silence or music. You know which chair feels most comfortable. You know which corner of the room is the quietest. You know when you want to be silent and when you are ready to talk. No one knocks on your door unless you allow it. There are no conversations you have to keep going simply out of politeness. These small things may sound ordinary, but to the human nervous system, familiarity and control are powerful signals. They tell your body that you are safe. For people who are easily anxious or sensitive to their surroundings, that sense of control is not just a convenience. Sometimes it is how they keep their mind steady. And here is something many people do not realize. People who enjoy solitude often have certain special qualities. They tend to reflect more deeply on themselves. They are often more creative. They may solve problems in unique and unexpected ways. When you are alone, your brain enters a special state. It begins connecting memories, thoughts, and experiences. It is like cleaning a room after a long day. Only when everyone has left do you finally have the space to put everything back in order. That is why many of the best ideas appear when you are alone, not in a crowded room, but in a quiet corner while reading a book, walking by yourself, or sometimes lying awake at 2 in the morning thinking. Being at home does not mean doing nothing. Sometimes it is where your deepest thoughts appear. It is where important decisions are made. It is where the things you truly want in life begin to become clearer. But today's society often tells a different story. When you look at social media, you see trips, parties, and photos full of people. You see captions about living life to the fullest. Slowly, we begin to believe that an exciting life must look that way. We begin to think that if we are not going out often, we must be missing something, that we are wasting time, that we need to change, that our lives need more color. But no one tells you that the person posting that photo may have gone home afterward and felt relieved that the night was finally over. No one tells you that behind many cheerful group photos are people quietly wishing the evening would end sooner. Psychology does not say that staying home is better than going out. It simply says something much more important. Not everyone needs the same kind of life to feel happy. Some people genuinely feel most at peace at home. A quiet evening, a familiar movie, a warm cup of tea, no appointments, no obligations, only stillness. And that is not sad. That is self-awareness. So what about you? Do you stay home because it makes you feel recharged, or because going outside feels too exhausting? There is a difference, and only you can truly know which one applies to you. However, it is also important to be honest about something. Not everyone who stays home often does so because they truly enjoy it. Some people stay home because of social anxiety, negative experiences from the past, or depression. These quiet emotional burdens can make everything outside feel too heavy. For them, home may be a shelter, but sometimes it can also become a cage. Not because they want it to be that way, but because stepping outside the door has become too difficult to explain to anyone. If you recognize yourself in that state, it does not mean you are weak. But it may be a sign that you deserve to talk to someone who understands what you are going through. One side is peace, the other is avoidance, and only you know which side you are on. For those who truly enjoy being at home, they do not feel like they are missing out on life. They are simply living at a different rhythm. Their joy comes from small things. A morning coffee enjoyed slowly, without needing to rush anywhere. A familiar spot on the sofa with a half-read book. The afternoon sunlight falling into the room at an angle only they notice. These are moments many people rush past because they are always trying to get to the next place. But for people who love being home, their inner world is already rich enough. They do not need more noise to feel alive. They can spend hours thinking about an idea without feeling bored. They can find joy in small, repeated routines. Not because they lack imagination, but because they understand that peace does not have to be loud to be valuable. And if you are that kind of person, you are not boring. You simply understand better than most people what truly brings you peace. Not everyone has that.